Hey, this is Gerd Handel, and welcome to the Inner Light Project. This show is for anyone who's wanting to lead a happier, healthier, and enlightened life. Create more self-love, inject more joy and abundance into their daily life. Join me for inspiring interviews and spiritual topics so you can shine your inner light. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Inner Light Project. My name is Gerd Handel and today I want to share with you the power of expansion. Now every month we talk about a different topic. Last month was about rebirth and this month is all about expansion. And this week I really wanted to share with you about the expansion of money, because I firmly believe that so many women have so many blocks when it comes to money, and that is deeply rooted. It's not just within ourselves, it's a generational lineage. You know, you only have to look at the history of women where women didn't even have bank accounts. Women weren't even allowed to feel safe with money. And so there is a history within all of our lineage that sometimes hold us back from really attaining true wealth and what wealth means to us. Now, this person that I'm having on the show today, she is helping women to create wealth without compromising their health, happiness, or well-being. Hanna Bier helps ambitious women recreate their relationship with money in a life-affirming, positive, and loving way. She has helped her clients transform their relationship with money from the inside out. Hi, Hanna. I'm so grateful to have you in the show, and thank you for joining us today.
I'm so excited to be here. So honored that I get to be a guest on your podcast.
Oh, bless you. So I would love for you to share what your life was like before you became an energy healer and family constellation expert.
Yeah, I really totally stumbled into this. I went to school to study fashion because I always knew I wanted to be my own boss and didn't really know what to do after high school. So I just thought to myself, I'm going to study something fashion related so that one day I might have my own fashion company. And then as I was in university, I was overcome with CPTSD symptoms. I was really depressed,
Wow.
really anxious. I could hardly get out of bed. I was exhausted. I felt like a train had hit me. And I was struggling to concentrate for my exams. I was struggling to even get to the lectures. And so I was terrified. I was really worried about my future because I didn't see how I would ever be able to work a 9 to 5, let alone run my own business. I was really struggling to come up with my rent payments each month. And that was a really dark place for me. And so I started finding all of these emotional healing techniques, and I started to find the self-development industry, and I started working on myself, and I started feeling a little better. And then before I knew it, my friends and family came up to me being like, "What are you doing? What's this weird stuff? What are you?" Because at the time I was really into Kundalini yoga. So I would get up at
Right.
4 in the morning, do my chanting for 2 hours
Wow.
before sunrise, do 8 hours of meditation. And while I was in meditation, I was feeling great. But then as soon as I opened my eyes, my bank accounts were still empty. I still didn't know what to do with my life. Money was terrifying to me, and I still had a lot of work to do.
Wow. Wow. And what was like the turning point for you then?
Yeah, I realized that I can't escape money. Like so many people, I was fantasizing about a rich husband or moving to a commune. Like, what is like, can I escape this thing that pushes all of my buttons all of the time and that constantly makes me feel like I'm not good enough? But as a result of the personal emotional healing that I had been doing, my friends and family wanted to work with me. They wanted what I had. And before even knowing that being a life coach or being a healer is something that you can do for a living, all of a sudden I had clients and I was leading all these workshops and people were asking me questions about their lives. And so I started getting my life coach certification, started training in family constellation therapy and many other modalities. And so I found myself running a business for emotional healing and trauma release. And then over the years, out of necessity for me, I started to not feel so scared of money anymore. And also, in order to be able to work with my clients, I needed to let them pay me. And so slowly I started to understand that it is safe, right, and good to let money in. It is safe, right, and good to have money. I had an amazing experience when my savings first exceeded. It was 17,500 euros because I was living in Amsterdam at the time. And my entire nervous system just went, oh, like the deepest release and relaxation. It was like, it felt so good. And then I thought to
Mm.
myself, wow, no antidepressant has been able to do this for me. No meditation, no self-help book. Like money in the bank feels good. And my
Mm.
clients had similar experiences. So we weren't working on money because at the time felt like I had, like, that was the last thing that I should be teaching on, given my history with money. But my clients had these amazing money side effects where they started to feel more energized and they started to feel more confident and they just started to see opportunities all around them that they didn't see before. And so they had these amazing money wins and actually came to me asking for money healing. And so I kind of discovered that money is like a very sticky relationship and a very sticky topic for so many of us. And I wanted more people to experience how good it feels to have money and how relaxing it is and how well we sleep when we know that money is easy.
Wow, I love that. And it's just so interesting. I actually wanted to be a fashion designer when I was younger as well, funny enough.
Oh, great choice and
Yeah,
career.
it's the same. I was like, oh, I could have my own business and like all these ideas. I could have my own fashion line. It'd be amazing. And then I changed my thought process and decided to become a journalist. So I actually studied journalism and I wanted to be a health journalist and change people's lives. And then back in 2012, I walked away. I was sick. I was just not happy. I was fatigued. And then that's when I went on this journey of like rediscovering myself, ended up becoming a life coach, obviously now doing trauma work, deep ancestral work now. It's so different. But, money has been an interesting like part of my life as well. And I realized that it's interesting part in a lot of women's life because some of us didn't have access to that kind of money growing up, or we didn't see that in the women in our family growing up. And so there was a lot of fear of creating it and how we're going to make it. Was that something similar to you?
Absolutely. My story with money is very much about I could lose it at any point. I
Mm.
don't trust myself to know how to make it, to hold on to it, to make wise choices with it. Didn't even plan for the future. I was just stuck in freeze and terrified. And I also learned that it's not just the people who come from not so wealthy families that have money blocks. I have many clients who are
Yes.
millionaires, multimillionaires,
Yeah.
whose spouses make a lot of money, or they themselves have really high paying jobs. And they still come to me because something doesn't feel right. Or when it's
Mm.
enough, it still doesn't feel enough. Or where it feels like they're making money, but it comes at a sacrifice, where it's they're making a lot of money, but they're not really happy, they're not really fulfilled, they're missing out on time with their kids. So it almost doesn't
Mm.
feel like it's worth it. And my work is called Money Bliss. And it's
Mm.
already in the name. Through working with me, you get a lot of money and a lot of bliss. It's the emotional healing that's so important for you to also be able to enjoy the financial abundance that you've created. And so, for anybody listening, who used to, maybe you think what I used to think that, rich people, like it's so easy for them because they have all this money. Money is about being an amazing receiver of love. Money is about
Mm.
allowing yourself to be comfortable and about living a life that is congruent with who you are. And so all of us can have money blocks regardless of the actual amount of money that we have in our bank accounts.
That's 100% true. And that's what I've learned as well with clients over the years is that even trauma, like I was talking to a few like psychologists a few years ago and they were saying like, oh, they used to think it was a certain socioeconomic background, but actually it's not the case. And I was like, yeah, everyone has some level of trauma, whether it's small or big, but also even if you grew up in the most happiest environments, you can still have some form of trauma. And it's the same with money as well.
That's right. And it's almost like money is this amazing, gorgeous presence in our lives that
Yes.
knows how good life can be for us. It knows what we're truly capable of. It knows how we can let ourselves be everything that we can be and what exactly that would look like. And so for me, I've always been so frustrated because money kept pushing my buttons. It felt
Mm.
so confronting, and I had to deal with it every single freaking day, from like buying groceries to paying my rent and like all those things. And I used to be so frustrated with the fact that money was so confronting all the time. But now I really see money as this guide and this teacher. and that it's not about having enough or amassing more and more and more. It's about stepping onto this journey of abundance and allowing ourselves to create all the financial resources that we want, but also experiencing the personal growth that comes with that. And so for some of my clients on the surface, it may seem as though they have enough, but there is a journey that money is offering them to experience that leads them to building incredible companies. One of my clients started a jewelry company on top of her healing business, and the healing
Wow.
business was already going amazing. And then, they started real estate investing and then made a ton of money that way. And, now she started like a new venture. She puts crystals in people's homes as they're being built. So there's a crystal grid in the walls of the
Oh.
home. And
Oh,
so we could have stopped at just the healing thing, right?
yeah.
But it's money is about so much more than just money. It's about letting yourself express yourself and experience different facets of life.
I love that. I love the bit about the crystals in the house. That's just the blessing on that house, right? On the houses that she has helped. Wow, that is beautiful. But going back to the money thing, you were saying, like, I notice a pattern, and I don't know if you see this as well, but like the struggles that women have with money is generational. What would you say?
Absolutely. So, great place to start in assessing our own relationship with money is we can even go to a very simple place in our past, which is our very early years with our main caregivers. For most of us, those were our parents, but it can be grandparents, it can be nannies, it can be whoever was around to take care for you during your very early years. And the way that you perceived love at the time most likely directly correlates with how money flows in your life today. So the way love flowed between you and your main caregivers when you were little correlates with how money flows in your life today because money is an expression of love. When you were little, your
Mm.
parents were supposed to love you, care for you, protect you, give you the physical resources to be wow, that is food, that is clothes, that is a lovely, snuggly bed. And then as you grow up, you're supposed to learn to love yourself with the help of money. And so learning to always have all of your needs met and desires fulfilled and to have an overflow of love in the form of money in your life all the time is about opening up your capacity to have a lot of love. In many of our families, um, our parents didn't feel very loved, our grandparents didn't feel very loved. So we have to develop this capacity that a lot of love is natural. It's safe, right, and good to have an overflow of love in all ways in my life. This is kind of what I needed to learn and step into and become comfortable with.
Wow, I'm just blown away by that. It really does make sense. And yeah, when you don't believe you're loved, then you then resist the money, don't you? You then you punish yourself in a way with money, or you don't allow yourself to save. But when you love yourself, you allow it to come easily and effortlessly, and you allow it to just increase in your bank account.
Yeah, and we often don't have this feeling in our bodies of what love truly feels like. And so many of us, think, oh, we have to have the big car and the big house and the big whatever and the big business. And then we create these things and we still feel empty. And so this is because we're trying to meet our emotional needs through money. And my invitation is, how about we create both? How about we do create the external abundance and the big house and the car and can just have it, see how you like it. If you like it, keep it. If not, create something else. And we also fill in your emotional needs because both need to happen. It is wonderful to have a lot of money in the bank so that you can stay home with your kids or buy a grandma flowers or go on that retreat you've been wanting to go on or take a sabbatical, start a new business, like whatever your soul calls you to do. It's really nice to have a lot of financial resources and to be a great money maker. And the money will not replace any of the emptiness and any of the confidence wobbles and the longing that you're feeling inside. The emotional healing still needs to happen.
Yeah. And also, I've noticed it's not just your family upbringing, it's also like society's like conditioning. So, like, money is bad, and, all these things that we've been raised to think about money, but actually, money is an exchange of energy.
Yes, it is. When money was first, I don't want to say invented, when money first came to be, it was a placeholder for value. And in a way, it was a
Mm.
means of expressing appreciation to one another. I'm going to give you some corn in exchange. You're going to give me a pig, and I'm going to appreciate your ability to grow corn and to help nourish our community. And I'm going to appreciate your ability to raise a pig and, to breed pigs and to support our community in this way. So it was a way of exchanging love between people. And now on the surface, money may seem really shallow, but it's really, that is not the truth at all. Getting to work and getting to grow a business and getting to have a really wonderful open flow and exchange of money in your life also translates into an open and beautiful exchange of appreciation and love between you and your community that you're a part of. And so a lot of what also heals on our journey to healing our relationship with money is our relationship blocks, any blocks to being seen, to allowing people to like us and to give to us, and allowing ourselves to like people. Like this vulnerability in relationships is something that also heals and clears along the way, which I think is so beautiful.
Wow. This is so fascinating. It really does make sense. And especially for women, I'm thinking like I'm going to put this into words. Um, like the fear of money has been deeply rooted, hasn't it? So like through patriarchy and also through generations where women didn't have things like our female ancestors had. So I feel like there's some deeper wound there where women don't always feel safe enough to hold on to money.
That's absolutely right. I see that too. Because money is also an expression of power and of freedom of choice.
Mm.
That's what money brings. Money brings sovereignty. When a
Yeah.
woman has money, she can make choices based on what's best for her. And she will not be manipulated. And she can have her own house, her own car, her own friends, her own of everything. And that independence, is still very heavily discussed in our society today, right? Like there's still a very strong
Yeah.
movement, trying to tell women that it is not safe, right, and good to be our own sovereign people and to have a say over how we live our lives and what we do with our bodies. And so, in my work, I'm a very big fan of slow and gradual. We make like little increases and we acclimate, little increases and we acclimate. And money is an amazing way of discovering what power feels like, what freedom of choice feels like, and to slowly acclimate to having more and more and more and more of it until you are really powerful and you do have a lot of freedom of choice and you can do whatever you want. I always tell my clients one of the outcomes that I want to create together is that you work because you want to, not because you have to. And so imagine being in that place where money is so abundant and you choose to work or not work. And you choose, what business you want to run and you choose where you want to live. And all of it is absolutely freely and totally your choice. And so for many people, it takes some time to acclimate to that and to feel comfortable in this. But once people get there, everybody loves it. It's amazing. It's so nice to be fully in charge of your own life. And historically, that's a gigantic deal.
Hmm. Yeah, 100%. And I know I keep relating it to women because the podcast is more related to women, you see. But it's like anything in our life. Once we take our power back, we can achieve anything we want. And money does that. Money gives us, like you said, the power, the opportunities, the breathing space to no longer depend on anybody or feel like we don't have a say or choice in our own life.
Absolutely. I remember when I first discovered this in my own life,
Yeah.
I was looking at current expressions of power with money, and I got so many examples of male expressions of power, and I was like, ooh, I don't want
Mm.
that. Like superiority and like I'm richer and I'm bigger and I'm stronger, like all this like power over. And so for anybody listening who's like, ooh, I definitely, something about this feels uncomfortable, being powerful, being in charge of my own life. And I wonder, for anybody listening who's like I used to be, who was like, what does that even look like? Will people still like me? Can I still be who I am? You can maybe find some examples of people who are really powerful and abundant with money and also really, really happy and have a wonderful community. For me, Oprah immediately comes to mind, who's been in a
Like,
long-term relationship, so happy, And she's one of the richest women on planet Earth. And she also seems very happy, a very happy, balanced, grounded person. And so I think that's also really important that as women, we find more and more and more external examples of the fact that it is safe, right, and good to have a lot of power.
I love that. Can you tell us about your book, Wealth from Within?
Absolutely. Last year, yes, because we're in January as we're recording this. Last
Oh,
year,
wow.
I wrote a book called Wealth from Within. Um, it's a really It's a great way to first dip your toe into the money bliss approach to money and the money bliss way of life, into the idea that you can heal emotionally and create oodles and oodles and oodles and oodles of money. And in the book, it's not so much about making more and more and more. Yes, it's also about increasing your income, but I'm very passionate about my clients having money. I hope you can kind of feel the difference because
Yeah.
most money coaches teach us like how to get more money, but then you're always in the getting it, and like the energy of I have to get more money, have to get more money, which translates into somewhat of a feeling of lack. And I'm very passionate about my clients always having a lot of money. So they really do have that freedom of choice. So if anything like that interests you and resonates with you, you can go to Amazon and search for Wealth from Within by Hanna Bier. Grab your copy. Make sure to leave a review so I know how you feel about the book.
I love it. And what would you say someone's takeaway from reading the book they would get?
Most people say, I mean, it has like lots of tangible advice and tangible how to start, having more money and increasing your abundance. Many people start to have a stronger feeling in their bodies that abundance is available to them. So many people say that they experience this really big energetic shift of feeling that it's possible and knowing how they can create it, which is monumental. Many of the people I first start working with, like they can't even see it. They don't even see how they would create, the 10,000 in savings or the 20,000 in monthly income, or, many of my clients, like we buy houses in cash, cars in cash, vacations in cash if we want to, or we take out a mortgage because it's up to us. And so many of my clients, like they can't even fathom how that could happen for them. And as a result of reading the book, many people see, wow, it is true that more financial realities are available to me than I thought before. And there is a path to increasing my income. And this is how it can happen for me. And so it really helps with the action taking and actually implementing it.
Oh, I love that. We are coming towards the end of the show. It's gone really quick. What are your 5 top tips for someone who's struggling with their relationship money and they don't know where to start?
Yeah, the first place, I'm going to do a little woo and a little practical. Um, the first place to start is there is a feeling of truth in your own body that is urging you to create what it is that you truly want. And so listen to that feeling of truth in your own body and honor what it's telling you, even though what it's telling you may seem completely crazy or completely out of the blue. But that is your soul telling you what your ideal life would look like. And so if your soul keeps telling you, I should be a millionaire, or I should run companies, or I should, be free and be home with my kids, like whatever abundance looks like for you, that feeling of truth is telling you what it is and is urging you to go create it. So the first tip is tap into that, tune into that, download the information, and then really honor it and trust it. You can think of it as like a little preview of what's to come. So that's tip number one.
I love it. And what's tip number 2?
Tip number two is my favorite exercise that my clients love and hate. And it's the list, it's a very simple list. You make a list of 100 ways to make more money right now.
Ooh.
And it trains your resourcefulness. So you go from, do I have the money for this? Can I do this? To how can I find the money for this? It really helps you become so resourceful so that when you do want to buy something, you always know how to create the money for it. if there's a coaching program you want to join, if there's a down payment for a house that you want to come up with, if there's a car you want to buy, there's a trip you want to go on, like if there's a tax bill waiting for you that you want to pay, but you don't want to tap into your savings, you can then go to your list of 100 ways and take action on it and find out, and do whatever would be needed in order to create this. And this list works for people whether they're self-employed or whether they're in business or whether they're working for a business. It works for people who are not working in a traditional sense at all. You can write down things like, mow the neighbor's lawn or host a workshop for my business or write a book and sell 100 copies, or just, you can ask your friends, you can ask your family, you can take a couple of days to complete it. But trust me, you will get to 100. You can do this because sometimes the first 50 ideas are terrible, but they lead you to the next 50 ideas who are amazing. So write down your good ideas, your bad ideas. Always keep a list of 100 ways to make more money starting right now and take massive action on it.
Wow, I love that. It's so simple as well, but so powerful.
So powerful. All of my clients have to do this all the time. And in the beginning, everybody's like rolling their eyes and they don't want to do it. But honestly, it's the best thing. It's so nice. It gives you the sense of security of if anything were to happen, I would know how to create extra money, no problem.
And you can pick and choose what you want because that list is there. I love it.
It's amazing. It's really cool. I do it myself all the time.
Oh, I love it.
And if you're in business, if there's like a program you want to sell, you can make a list of 100 ways to get the clients for this program.
That's quite
And
smart.
then you take action on it, like what are 100 ways that you can market and invite people to work with you? And so it makes money a lot more predictable. So instead of being like, oh, am I going to make this money? Or my finance going to be like this year? It makes it a lot more predictable. And you start to prove to yourself that you can reach your money goals and actually that you can do it every single time.
So I guess it's like the law of attraction. If you put it out there, you'll receive it versus the work like fear. Fear does nothing. Whereas if you're kind of like you're kind of manifesting it, I guess, by writing it down and allowing yourself to receive it comfortably.
Yeah, I like doing both. I always tell my clients, we're going to work as though like an angel stepped on like the cord or like the wires somewhere up in heaven and accidentally turned off the law of attraction. Like if somebody turned off the law of attraction tomorrow, would you still reach all of your money goals based on what you're doing alone? And then we also make sure that my clients are amazing receivers and manifestors, and we still leverage the law of attraction all the way. And we also leverage my clients' action taking all the way. So it's like a 200% chance that they're going to reach their goals. And so my clients often exceed their goals because of that.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And what's the third tip?
The third tip is, this is a personal one. So you need to kind of decide, anybody listening, you need to decide whether this feels right for you. But I don't like being hard on myself about my spending. So instead of restricting my spending, I like to make decisions based on souls. If there's a dress that's a yes, I'm going to buy it. If there's a car that's a yes, I'm going to buy it. My soul tells me to do something, I'm going to go do it, come hell or high water. And so I'd rather make more money rather than restrict my spending. And I've learned that when something is a soul yes and I do it, the money always shows up, or it's really easy to create for this thing that I want.
Yeah, that is so interesting. I found that myself whenever I used to fear about something, go, oh, well, I can't have that, or I'll take it back, then I'd have more of that energy. But when it's like, okay, I'm going to buy it and I need to make more, and then it would just come in tenfold. You're so right about that.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is the law of attraction aspect, right?
Yeah. Yeah. What's your fourth tip?
My fourth tip is one of the exercises in my book. So if you're going to read my book, you can go all the way to the beginning, and there's an amazing exercise that I love, where you write down all the reasons why your struggle with money is a very good thing. So why is it good that you have your particular struggle with money? What is it teaching you? And so for me, my struggle with money, so my Achilles heel is doubting that I'm good enough and doubting that it can happen for me. So I don't even take action. So I just throw in the towel. I'm like, oh, I guess it's all in vain, doesn't matter. That's kind of my thing. Um, and so for me, my relationship with money being so confronting is a really good thing because it teaches me to take action. It teaches me to be responsible. It teaches me to always make new friends and, go into communities and let myself grow as a person. So I would love for you to start your own list and write down at least 20 reasons why your struggle with money is really, really, really good for you.
I love that. And your final tip?
My final tip with money is to open up to unlimited possibilities with it. So I like to always, I'm an energy healer. I'm clairvoyant. I see my clients as energy fields. So I see the colors around them and all of that. And as I'm doing energy clearings on my clients, I like to blow up any places where they're limiting their financial realities in any way. Um, because sometimes my clients then become more open to earning like twice the amount or 3 times the amount, but I want them to be amazing receivers of any amount of money. And so, as a tip, you can start practicing. What if all financial realities and all amounts of money were completely and totally comfortable for you? And you realize it's just numbers. It doesn't mean anything about you. It doesn't really change anything. It's just numbers. Like if we now deposited 500,000 in your bank account, 1 million in your bank account, you would still just be here listening to this podcast. Like the world wouldn't have ended. Everything would be the same except for a number somewhere in your banking app on your phone would be different. And the meaning that that holds about the decisions that you can make in your life. But just kind of start to picture, what if all financial realities were available to you? What if the trillions of dollars that are flowing around planet Earth right now, what if you could tap into that and receive however much feels fun for you? And what if that was actually safe, right, and good? Because it's just money. It can't hurt you. It's just numbers.
Yeah, this is so fascinating. What I'm taking from what you're saying today is that detach yourself from money, see how you treat yourself. Like how you treat yourself is how money will treat you, but also love yourself unconditionally so you can create the abundance that you truly want without having that emotional detachment towards it.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, over time, money is kind of just money. And
Mm.
that's why I'm so passionate about the work that you and I are doing, with the emotions and with the trauma healing, because we often project so much of our emotional wounds onto money, and then money becomes really complicated.
Yeah.
And when we heal on the inside, our money also begins to heal on the outside. And then money is
Mm.
just money, and like any amount of money is like fine to have. And any level of success we're completely and totally comfortable with. And then life becomes fun because then you're free to choose what you want to create.
Oh, I love that. And what are you most grateful for?
I am most grateful for we have this hanging chair in our living room that I love. I just had it installed. We went on a little trip to the mountains when it was snowing. I live in the south of Germany. And so my best friend came to visit and we went on a little girls' trip. And they had this amazing hanging chair in our hotel room. And I
Mm.
Googled it, bought it immediately, had a handyman install it. It's amazing. It's like flying in a cave. It's so snuggly. It's amazing. I'm so grateful for this hanging chair. And it's the best.
Oh, bless you. And what shines your inner light?
Um, I feel so honored that I get to do this work. And every
Mm.
day I just wake up with a sunny disposition. So grateful that this is what I get to do with my time. Yeah, I think the work that I get to do is a very big source of my happiness and gratitude.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Hannah, for being the show and just helping so many people to overcome their money stories and relationship with money to help them finally take their power back. I know we need this more in the world because there's so many people struggling right now with finances and money, restrictions. And, the fact that you make it sound like, and I could feel it like the way you talk about it is so relaxing. It just feels like comfort and nourishment. It's beautiful to hear.
Oh, I'm so glad. That's what it feels like for me.
Mm. I can just really
Money is
feel
my favorite stuffy. It
it.
feels like a stuffy. Like my bank account is this wonderful warm presence that lets me sleep at night. And I know that whatever happens, I have money to help me. I have money to be a solution for me. It is very relaxing and calming to have money. Don't let
Yeah.
anybody tell you otherwise. It's amazing. My
Bless
favorite antidepressant.
you. Bless you. Thank you, Hannah. Wow. I'm blown away. That so simple but so powerful. Wow, what an amazing episode with Hannah. It's so interesting, isn't it, how money plays such an important role in our lives, but also money can create so much abundance, so much joy, and money can create so much inner peace. But it's finding ways that make life easier, and it's about healing those money stories so we can really come back home to ourselves. Unfortunately, that's the end of the show. Before I leave, I want to leave you with this quote. Money flows to me from multiple sources. That's a quote by Manifest Prosper. Now, if you're struggling to transform trauma and want to learn to trust yourself so you can powerfully move forward in your life and be in your divine feminine power, then visit my website at www.gerdshandel.com and look at my program, The Infinite Trust Method. This is where I teach you in 4 months how to let go of ancestral, cultural, society, familial patterns. We look at where your self-love stems from, how to create a stronger bond with that, boundaries, masculine and feminine energy, so much more that helps you to come back home to yourself. And if you're drawn to it, just fill out the form and let's talk. And remember, stay happy, stay healthy, stay lit.